Third and 29. Jones steps up, tries to avoid it, buys some time. Jones uncorks, deep ball, touchdown on the ricochet. Purdy back to throw. Pressure coming, steps away, looking to run, and he walks it in for the touchdown. Throw on 4th and 18. He's given time. He wants Jefferson. Jacobs with running room right up the middle. Jacobs is on his way. The Raiders are going to win this game. Layers it up. Intercepted Trayvon Diggs. Guess who? To McCaffrey right up the middle, and it's stiff arm McCaffrey for 6. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Extra Point. Along with Ben Curse, I'm Lauro Antonio. Welcome, everyone, to a great episode tonight. Isaiah just commented, "What's up, guys? Sorry I can't be on," and he'll see us on the next show and what we do. And then he does say Duval, meaning Jacksonville Jaguars. So, Ben, first time this is you and I on a show in a long time, man.
Glad to be on here with you, Lauro. Definitely could be a preview of what's to come with us too when we talk about the Patriots in terms of our show this fall. So I'm glad to be on with you, Isaiah. Obviously, we miss you, and obviously we're glad to have you come back when our next show is. But glad to do it with you tonight, and looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Laura, I think you might be muted.
Sorry.
Very good.
Patriots. Sorry again, guys. Just trying to.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay. What was your question? I can hear it.
I was saying that.
Is it about the Patriots? Oh, here you go. I can hear you now.
No, about being on a future Kicking It with Cruz show whenever you have one. If it's about Patriots stuff or something like that, you can keep me posted on when you have that. Anyways, here we got a lot to discuss to talk about in one. I mean, we got to start with talking about the Patriots and Eagles game first. I mean, before we get into the game and all that, Ben, what were your thoughts on the entire Tom Brady halftime ceremony, when Mr. Kraft said that he was going to waive the 4-year wait period for Brady to be in the Hall of Fame next spring.
It was absolutely
It was
incredible.
absolutely incredible.
I think personally that it's something that we as Patriot fans are very blessed with. Very grateful for. And I knew that obviously he was going to do something special coming into this. So it's great to see him be honored. And damn right I'll be there next year.
Are you saying you're going to be going to Gillette Stadium for that?
I will.
Oh, you got to get your tickets and ahead of time for that, because those are going to sell out real quickly, and it's going to be inside Gillette Stadium for that. But to the game itself, the Patriots, however, they started out the game not scoring. I mean, the Eagles' defense played their brand of football to start the game. Then, as the game went on, Bill O'Brien continued to make adjustments to the play calling. And I'll tell you, Ben, this Patriot team, like what Tony Romo said, they look for real in a tough schedule.
Yeah, I thought personally it was very encouraging. It didn't look great to the start. Early on, it was really tough, specifically. So the biggest thing about the Patriots is just to make sure not turn the ball over. They had two turnovers in the first quarter, and that pretty much was the difference of the game. Because pretty much the Patriots outscored them in pretty much every other category from the second quarter to the end of the game. But the turnovers are the biggest difference with it. The pick six, obviously, at the beginning, and then Ezekiel Elliott with the fumble. So, personally, the defense was excellent. The defense only gave them a short field touchdown the whole entire game. And outside of that, they were fantastic. So, you got to feel good about next week. The schedule for the Patriots is going to be tough all year. So they're going to do what they can to against Miami this week.
Well, we'll talk about Miami in a minute here. We had to talk about other games and to talk about notably the Thursday night game. But before we get into that, I'll tell you, my thoughts on the game overall for the Patriots, Mac Jones, I thought he had a decent game. That first quarter was rough. I didn't say it was the game of his life, but I feel like he had stuff to clean up. But having Bill O'Brien back as the offensive coordinator really, really helps the New England Patriots in a big way, because you talk about last year, the Patriots were so bad offensively, they were not fun to watch. Now that Bill O'Brien is back, it makes the New England Patriots more relevant again on the offensive side of the ball.
I was telling Isaiah this yesterday. Coaching matters. And I think specifically that they really wasted the year of Mac Jones. Matt Patricia being the offensive coordinator, I think should be a horrible offense. And grateful that Bill O'Brien is back with the Patriots. And I thought specifically that you could see it already. They ran a bunch of combo formations in this game. They made different looks, early on in the game and later on in the game. And I thought Mac threw the ball really well after that pick six. He was very confident in his play. And if this is the Mac Jones that we can have for the rest of the season, I think personally I like our chances to make a playoff run.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see on that. But like I said, coaching does matter now with Bill O'Brien back. This is the offense I was wanting to see, Brent. The modernized offense is back. The spread offense is back. And that's what the Patriots are used to running. When Brady was with us, the Patriots ran a spread look with O'Brien and with McDaniels. But now that O'Brien is back, he's bringing back that spread look.
Yeah, I think it's just really exciting to see. I think personally that you could spread. The Patriots personnel packages I think were awesome in this one because you have two tight ends in Gesicki and Henry you can use all over the field. You have two complementary running backs in Zeke Elliott and Ramondre Stevenson. You even use a little bit of Tom Montgomery in this one. So I thought that he was able to get a little bit of action, but Juju Smith-Schuster, they really use everyone. Juju, Kendrick Bourne. The biggest thing about Kendrick Bourne is you just got to play the guy. I mean, the guy essentially when he's out there, he is getting results, and it's so upsetting when Kendrick Bourne doesn't get a lot of playing time because he is a force. I mean, I'm not saying that he is a number one receiver, but him and Mac Jones have a really good rapport going that they've had for a while, and he had 6 catches for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he was fantastic in this one. And then Demario Douglas, the kid that I think a lot of Patriot fans have a lot of hope for. He got a lot of snaps in this one, and he had 4 catches for 40 yards. I think he'll play still a lot in this next coming game in the next couple. The other rookie, Kayshon Boutte, he had a little bit of a rough one. Obviously, it's his first game, but he had 2 crucial plays. Obviously, the end catch where they overturned the catch that was out of bounds to end the game. Obviously it happened twice, which sucked. But he'll learn from it. He's going to be a really good player, I think. And like I said, the coaching matters, and this offense specifically, it was just so stale last year. That if you felt like they were down in games, that they just really didn't have much that they can kind of come back from. So, I really like the way that the flow of the offense was kind of going after that first quarter, and it's awesome to kind of see specifically how much real coaching can really help you along the way.
You're definitely right about that, Ben. Now we're going to get into talking about the game of the year to start off week 1. The Lions upsetting the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. They were without Travis Kelce. Patrick Mahomes had a great game, Ben. And I'll also tell you, the Lions had the guts to beat Kansas City on their turf to start off the season. I mean, everybody thinks the Detroit Lions are going to win the NFC North because the culture has changed with Dan Campbell. Jared Goff has been solid, not a great quarterback that you'll see out there. But how the Lions won that game, Ben, was basically their running attack, their offense, defense, you name it, Ben. I thought Dan Campbell had the guts to beat one of the greatest coaches of all time in Andy Reid in week 1, and Jared Goff is 2-0 against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it's a good one for the Lions. I think that it's a great game to open up the 2023 NFL season. And personally, I thought that the Chiefs, obviously, I think it really kind of has come to show specifically, and I said this to Isaiah yesterday, that, outside of Travis Kelce offensively, there really wasn't a lot that helped out Patrick Mahomes. I do think, though, to credit of what the Lions did, it's a really good win. Not a lot of people picked them, obviously, to go into Arrowhead on Thursday Night Football, first game of the season, banner night for the Chiefs. And, they were able to squeak one out, and I picked Dan Campbell to win Coach of the Year. I think that this guy's going to he just really is a good 5 for that team. And I think that he's going to really do a good job with that team all year. And I think personally, the Lions are going to win the division. I really think that they have that great of a group that will rise to the occasion this year. In terms of the Chiefs specifically, I think it's a little disappointing the way that they played, but it's only the first week. A lot of teams that I said this yesterday too, that that loss essentially will be look back and be like, remember that week 1, that loss and stuff like that. you know, you have to obviously give it a couple weeks. And, you know, this Chiefs team is just really good still, and they'll be in it when season's over. But it's a good win for the Lions. It's a really good win. It might be one of the biggest ones they've had in so long. So, you know, give credit where credit's due. And, yeah, really good. Really happy for them. And Jared Goff played really well. He didn't turn the ball over. He had 1 touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, is going to have a massive season for the Lions. A really underrated receiver. He had a touchdown. Uh, and then the biggest thing about the Chiefs was, you know, Kadarius Toney was massively disappointed in this one. You know, a guy that receiver that he had a lot of high hopes, especially at the Super Bowl last year that the Chiefs got him from the Giants. You know, not pretty much anyone else from the Chiefs receiving corps really stepped up in Kelsey's absence. So I think, you know, for the Chiefs fans, they get Kelsey back this week. They also get Chris Jones back this week. So I think that's a massive boost for them and their team, and I expect them to respond on Sunday.
Definitely see that, Ben. I mean, I think if you look at the Chiefs here, I really think that they will respond against Jacksonville, which we will talk about in a minute. But you talk about the Cowboys. I mean, who would have thought that they would have come into MetLife Stadium to beat the New York Giants by like 40-0? I mean, I was thinking like third quarter, the Cowboys were going to get off to a big lead and the Giants were going to come back. There was going to be another moment where the accident was waiting to happen. But didn't. But the Cowboys are still a talented football team. But Mike McCarthy calling the plays, I mean, so far it's worked for him to do it. But what are your thoughts on that game, Ben?
I mean, if you're a Cowboys fan, you know, obviously you're real excited about it. And if you're a Giants fan, you just want to sim to the next week. It was, you know, the Cowboys defensively, I think they're going to be really good all season. You know, headlined by Michael Parsons. This defense is no joke. And I think they really displayed it for the first week. You know, in terms of the Cowboys offense, they didn't really do a whole lot. They didn't really have to do a whole lot because they were up by so many points. You know, they really just had to kind of control clock. Tony Pollard had 2 touchdowns. He's going to be a really good, you know, piece for them for sure. And then, you know, you look at it specifically, the Cowboys were able to get a couple scores from different, you know, they got a field goal block attempt that, you know, Noah Bengane got for 58 yards, return for a score for 45 yards from block from Granny Gano. And then they got a pick 6 in the first quarter. So they're able to score a couple ways early on in the game, and they got a couple scores rushing from Tony Pollard later on. The Giants specifically, and I told this to Isaiah yesterday, if they can't keep Daniel Jones upright, this is going to be a long season for the New York Giants because they paid Daniel Jones a lot of money specifically to be their guy. But if they can't get the protection in front of him, then, you know, it's going to be a moot point specifically in terms of, you know, what he can do to make even the next step for that Giants team. You know, the Giants have a big test specifically this Sunday. You know, in terms of the front, I'm not obviously talking about the game. I think the Cardinals are just a team that are rebuilding. They're not really going to go anywhere this year. So I expect the Giants to win on Sunday. But what I will say specifically is I'm really curious to see how the Giants' offensive line responds in this game, especially against a defensive line that I thought did a pretty good job against the Commanders on Sunday. And John Gannon specifically is a defensive-minded type coach, especially when he was over in Philly. So, yeah, I thought that, you know, the Cowboys being a massive team in the first game of the season. Obviously, I did not expect the score by any means. I was expecting, I think, the Cowboys to win this game, but the Giants take the points. Yeah, just a complete, you know, no-show from the Giants. And, you know, I think that they probably respond in this one. I mean, it can't be any worse, especially the way it happened. So, yeah, good for the Cowboys there. Good win. And for the Giants, just got to go back to the drawing board and play a lot better than you know on Sunday.
Anyways, now on to Monday Night Football. I mean, Aaron Rodgers being out for the year is a big blow, but this is basically the last chance that Zach Wilson can prove himself. But we are going to have to wait and see on that. But, Ben, I mean, I tell you, a great win for the Jets. But at the same time, losing Aaron Rodgers has to hurt the Jets. And if he retires after the season, that's going to shock the whole world here. But that's another subject for a different day. I mean, the Bills, Josh Allen, he didn't do his job. I mean, he turned the ball over 4 times. He threw 3 interceptions in the loss for the Bills. But for the Jets here, I mean, there's a question we got to talk about. Is this Zach Wilson's last chance? Now that he's getting an opportunity to regain the starting job, and now he has talent around him, offensive for him to work with. I mean, the Jets won this game was basically by their special teams and by their defense.
Well, first of all, this was supposed to be an epic quarterback showdown. Bringing it up from Friday on the whole weekend. Game was on 9/11. Really just special night it was going to be. A couple of my friends that were at that game that are Jets fans. Against the Bills, AFC showdown, you got Allen, you got Rodgers. It was meant to be specifically for an absolute classic. And I took the massive dud. First series, 4 plays in, Aaron Rodgers takes a sack from Leonard Floyd as he was scrambling out. Just the way kind of he went down and he just stood there and they took him off the field. He obviously went on the cart. And, it was really sad, really tough. I was really excited to see this. I know we're Patriot fans, but you obviously want to kind of see the greats, especially for a guy like Rodgers, battle it out, and especially with like a new team. It just really is unfortunate. I think that he'll come back next year. I know that he posted some on Instagram today that, thanking people for, his awesome messages and kind messages and kind thoughts and stuff like that. And I hope, Aaron, that you have a great speedy recovery. And personally, for me, I don't think that he's done. I think that he's going to do what he can to stay around the team, which it sounds like it's going to happen. And Laura, I think Zach Wilson is going to be the starting quarterback, and I think that he's going to get a big benefit with having Aaron Rodgers help him right next to him. Just kind of like what he did in preseason, where Zach Wilson played a lot in the preseason, and you could see that there was pretty decent results. With Zach Wilson there with Aaron Rodgers, he didn't really have much of that help last year. So I think that the Jets will try to go get someone, kind of somebody that can kind of complement Zach Wilson. But I think Wilson's going to be the guy for the season. So yeah, like I said, it's really tough for Rodgers. You never want to see that, especially first part of the game early on. Even with him like carrying the flag out, that was just awesome to see, and just kind of going to it's just the way that it finished was awful. But in terms of the overall play, Zach Wilson was 14-21 with a touchdown. He did throw a pick early on. He did kind of settle down. He threw a pick. But the Bills, they had one of those games where even if Josh Allen was at least half of what he was on Monday, they win that football game. The Jets defense is going to be legit all year, and that's why I think specifically that their Jets season's not over. I mean, if Zach Wilson at least can be a little bit better than he was last year, I mean, they could probably, still be kind of around close to their win total possibly with Rodgers still there. I'm not saying that they're going to get more wins with Wilson than Rodgers, but they have a healthy Breece Hall. You saw what Breece Hall was able to do this past game. He looked really good. 10 attempts, 127 yards rushing. Garrett Wilson, still a stud. So I'm not discrediting this Jets team yet. Especially we'll kind of see specifically what they do throughout the rest of the week. But Josh Allen in this game, for the first game specifically of the Bills season, it was rough to watch for them. He had 3 interceptions, including 3 to Jordan Whitehead, safety from the Jets, who went all the 3. And then later on in the game, he also had a fumble where it was a snap essentially where he didn't look for the ball, and the Jets got it, essentially in Buffalo's territory, and they capitalized it. So, yeah, good win for the Jets. Obviously, the way that it finished on the punt return and overtime, that was pretty cool. And then, but I do think that Buffalo is going to respond. Josh Allen, he's still a great quarterback. So, it's the first week for a reason. And I think, another thing too, Lord, to keep in to account is not a lot of these starters playing preseason. So they don't get a lot of reps. There are some guys specifically that are pretty rusty. And you kind of saw some glimpses of it with some good ones like Allen on Monday night. So in terms of the Jets, really tough news on the Rodgers front. In terms of the Bills, really tough way to kind of lose, especially the way that after Rodgers, they didn't really get the chance to take advantage of that. And instead, turnovers really costed them.
I mean, you're right about turnovers costing the Bills here, but for the Jets, they won this game by special teams, defense, and all that. But we're gonna wait and see how the Jets do heading into Sunday's game against the Dallas Cowboys. But now we're gonna get to the fun stuff here, and now we're going to pick our Week 2 games. Starting off with tomorrow, our first game of Week 2, Thursday Night Football. It is also the first Thursday Night Football game of the year. I mean, these two teams met last year in Week 2. The Philadelphia Eagles are coming off a win over the New England Patriots. And for the Minnesota Vikings, it was a disappointing loss for them to lose against a team like Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. And the Bucs, who are supposed to be the worst team in the league, being the Caleb Williams race. Baker Mayfield found a way to beat Tampa. But I'll tell you, the Vikings' luck has ran out because they were 11-0 in one-score games, and it was because their defense didn't really get it done. But as for Philadelphia, they're heading into this game feeling really confident and all that. But anyways, Ben, I'm in the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game, but I think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to blow out Kirk Cousins. That defense is going to get like 10 or 5 to 10 sacks on Kirk Cousins. And then I really think that the Philadelphia Eagles are probably going to win this game. I'm going to say they're going to win 35-0, or I'm going to go even higher than that, 49-0, Ben.
I'm picking the Eagles to win here. I think that they play a lot better of a game than they did against the Patriots. They play a lot better of a game than they did against the Patriots. I thought Jalen Hurts was pretty rusty in the first game. Last week. In terms of the Vikings, Kirk Cousins in prime time. Never want to always pull for Kirk in prime time. So I think that this game's going to be close, but I think that Eagles play a lot better game, especially on offense.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Kirk Cousins in primetime is not good, but I'll tell you, Ben, are the Vikings taking a step back? Did you see that in their game? Did you see that in their game against Tampa Bay? Because that's a team they should have beat.
I mean, personally, week one's usually very it's hard to predict. So I think the Vikings specifically, I think are just going to have a very. It's just a weird team specifically. It's really kind of hard to specifically kind of tell how they're going to be this year. I know that they got Brian Flores as defensive coordinator, but last year they were just kind of old in their secondary. They don't have consistency. I don't think specifically anymore, and to rely on them. And then obviously Kirk Cousins is in a contract year. Justin Jefferson's trying to get paid. So there's just kind of a lot of question marks for that team. I think this season. I just don't know what they're going to really do this year. A lot of question marks.
Anyways, here now, that being said here, now we're going to talk about our first Sunday game. We'll start with the Green Bay Packers taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons came off a blowout win over the Carolina Panthers. The Green Bay Packers came off a blowout win over the Chicago Bears. I mean, Jordan Love has shown a lot of promise. I mean, I think so far he's shown that he can have a breakout season. And for the Falcons here, I mean, they won the game last week against Carolina because I think their offense got it done. But I don't think this is going to be a blowout here. I think it's going to be offensive shootout. But I think Green Bay will pull it off, and they're going to win by a field goal here. I think it's going to be a game-winning field goal for Green Bay in Atlanta, 37-34. Or make that 38-35.
It's gonna be a really good game. I think that the Packers are gonna win. Actually, the Falcons I think had a pretty good win on week one. But I think win was a real deal. I told Isaiah yesterday. I kind of overlooked him this offseason, but I think that the Packers they had their future in the mid game, and I think that they're gonna pull it out. Sunday.
Yeah, so I mean, the Green Bay Packers look like for real just after one game, and I think this is a team where I think they're not really pretenders. The Raiders, on the other hand, they were lucky to beat the Denver Broncos, which I think they didn't deserve to win that game, just because I felt like the Broncos have won in the first game of the Sean Payton era, but the Raiders won this game because they wanted to get a win for Josh McDaniels, because Josh McDaniels coached the Broncos and felt like, hey, let's just get this win for Josh McDaniels in the Mile High City. But now the Raiders are going to Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills. Both teams, I mean, the Raiders, that was a fake win for them, I'll tell you that. But I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills, but I'm not going to give the Raiders a chance in this game because the Bills are going to play like they were so mad from losing to the Jets in a season opener. And I think the Raiders are going to be only held to 3 points. Jimmy Garoppolo's not going to do anything against that Bills defense.
Or make sure I mute real quick. Oh, perfect. Yeah, I think that this is a game specifically that the Raiders this week, Davante Adams, I guess, is in the injury report. Jimmy Garoppolo was on the injury report, I think, this week. I think he's probably going to play, but the Raiders, obviously, they were able to squeak one out against Denver. I think that those two teams are fairly evenly matched this year. But the Bills, obviously, I think that, them playing at home, I think that, I think Josh Allen knows obviously he has to be a lot better in this one. I believe he's going to be a lot better in this game. And so I think that the Bills are going to win probably 27-16.
I would say Bills 28, Raiders 10. So I'm still not giving the Raiders a chance in this game just because Buffalo's going to blow the gates out of them. But next up, we talk about these two teams meeting for the first time since week 18 of the season, and also those wild card match this past January. I mean, the Ravens came off a blowout win over the Houston Texans. And as for the Ravens, they lost J.K. Dobbins again for the season. And I tell you, that is a huge blow for the Ravens and that running attack that they have. But they have guys like Gus Edwards and also guys like Justice Hill that could get it done. But I don't think they get it done against this Bengals team, where I think they're going to play with vengeance after getting blown up by Cleveland Browns. Give me the Bengals in this one, but I think the Bengals find their identity, and I think they blow out Baltimore 35-10.
This is going to be a great game. Always division games specifically are great. And I think that Joe Burrow, he cut his throw or whatever that he struggled with in week one. He went back to the cut that Joe Burrow has been seeing for last year. So maybe that can maybe kind of get him back on track, because I was telling Isaiah yesterday that he was just absolutely brutal last week. That offensive line, I think, has a lot of work to be done. The Ravens specifically could still be without Mark Andrews. I'm not sure specifically about that yet. I'll have to see, because that obviously changes a lot of things specifically for this game. But yeah, J.K. Dobbins being out is massive. I do think that Zay Flowers is going to be really good for them for this year. Really like that pick that the Ravens made. But I'm going to go with Bengals here in this game. By probably right now the spread is minus 3.5 in terms of the Bengals. I'd say that they probably cover that. Probably at least win by a score. I'm going to go 24-17.
Well, I mean, next up, the Detroit Lions are playing their home opener against the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, the Seahawks are off to an 0-1 start. They got blown up by the Rams, but they're going to be in for a tough test in Detroit. I am going to pick the Detroit Lions to win this game. I think it's going to be a fairly close game, but I think Jared Goff will pull it off against the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm going to say the Detroit Lions will get a win here. I think they start off the season 2-0, and I think they keep the train rolling in their season. And I know, Ben, you won't be shocked with who you pick here.
I'm actually going to go Seattle. Seattle actually went into Detroit last year and won, so I'm going to go in that same stretch here and pick the underdog in this one. I think that Seattle kind of had a letdown, and I feel like a lot of the teams that had letdowns this week are going to bounce back. That's typically kind of how football really is, right? Early on in the season, and maybe the Lions take a little bit of a step back in this game. I think that Geno Smith's gonna have a massive game like he did last week. Well, last time that they played him last year, they had over 40 plus points when they played them in Ford Field last year at Laurel. So I think that the Seahawks are going to actually pull this game out. It's going to be close. I think it's going to be a game-winning field goal or within 2 minutes probably. I'm going to say 30-27.
That could go either way here, but this is DeMeco Ryans' first game as the Houston Texans head coach as they take on the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson didn't finish the game last week against Jacksonville due to a minor knee injury, but he looks like he's going to be ready to go. But anyways, my pick for this game here, since it's the first home game for DeMeco Ryans, the head coach of the Houston Texans after getting blown out by the Baltimore Ravens, I am picking the Houston Texans to win this game. I think it's going to be an offensive shootout with Richardson. I think Richardson's going to have a bounce-back game. I think C.J. Stroud is going to ball out in the home opener for the Houston Texans. I mean, the Houston Texans offense is going to play in full speed. Defensively, I expect them to be a lot better than they were last week. So I'm going to say 38-35. Kamini Fairbairn will kick the game-winning field goal. Gatorade shower will be on DeMeco Ryans, and then he'll get his first game ball in the Texans locker room.
I like that pick, Laura, but give me the Colts. I think that it's going to take a little bit for this rookie C.J. Stroud to kind of get his feet wet, but Anthony Richardson, it's the battle of the rookies in this one, so it should be really, really fascinating matchup. I think that the Colts obviously are really upset with the way that they lost last game against the Jags, but obviously both teams are coming off of losses in the first week. So one team obviously is going to get their first win of the season. I think it's going to be the Colts. I think that I know that Jonathan Taylor's out for them for the first 4 weeks, but I think that the Colts are going to win. The spread though, the spread line's pretty close, so I think that's going to be probably within a score or two. Those two teams usually always play each other tough. I'm going to say 24-20.
Next up, we are talking about pretty much the best 1 p.m. Eastern time game in week 2. I mean, Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars playing their home opener, going against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. They're getting Travis Kelce back. I mean, I think both teams are going to play great offensively. I think it's going to come down to who's going to kick the game-winning field goal, who's going to make the last defensive stop. Both teams' defense is okay, but not great. Give me the Chiefs in this one, but I think it's going to be a 45-42 win. Harrison Butker kicks a 35-yard field goal to win the game for Kansas City.
You know, if Travis Kelce didn't play and Chris Jones didn't play, I was going to probably lean Jacksonville, but they're both back. I think that the Chiefs are a team that is going to respond in this from week one and their loss. Jacksonville takes a little bit of a step back. Each team is going to be 1-1 by week 3. And obviously, this is the rematch from the AFC wildcard game from last year. And I think that, yeah, this is going to be a really good game. It's going to be potentially one of the, like a Dolphins-Charger game from week 1 for this type of game in week 2. Just a lot of points. And should be really fun. Hopefully, I'll get the chance to watch it if they have it in my area.
Well, Ben, I mean, this is the battle of the crap bowl, the Chicago Bears and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, the Bucs just got lucky to win, but are they the best 1-0 team right now? Not really. I mean, the Chicago Bears are looking to respond after losing to Green Bay. Can both teams surprise us this year? I will lean to that, Ben. So, in this matchup, I'm going to pick Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. I don't see them playing like that. Like the way they played Green Bay, I don't see them playing like that all season long. I mean, I think the Bears' offense is going to get better. No matter what the critics say. A lot of people say Justin Fields is this, Justin Fields is that. I feel like the Bears have enough weapons for Justin Fields to succeed, and I think the Bears still need to have a good defense. Their defense is a work in progress, but I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears, but I think it's going to be a narrow win for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I mean, these two teams here, you know, there's not really a lot of juice to either one for this pretty much this coming season. So it's just one of those games that someone has to win. You know, that'll be like an Andrew Catalon type of game where it's just nobody's going to really care who really wins this one, unless you're really a team of either one. So I do apologize if obviously I harm anyone with those teams, but I'm going to go Tampa. I think it's going to be a really close game. I actually did like the way that Baker Mayfield played last game. I don't think that he's going to, be amazing by all means. I think he's going to go through his growing pains. Heck, he was a guy that the Buccaneers essentially just got off like the scrapbook, in a way. He's a quarterback that's trying to prove him wrong, everybody wrong. And I think that he had a pretty good week in week 1. So I think that he continues that in week 2. And I think the Bears are going to have a really slow start to the season. I think that just kind of the way it's going to be. And, the Bucs are at home too. So I'm going to go with the Bucs in this game. In terms of a score, I'm probably going to go low scoring game actually in this one. I'm going to go like 19-16.
Both teams here, So now we talk about the Chargers where they played their butts off against Miami, but they lost. And then the Tennessee Titans, on the other hand, they're in for a very long season. I mean, they should have gotten blown out by the New Orleans Saints because I thought the Saints should have just scored more points than they did. But at the same time, I am going to pick here, Ben, my hometown Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, yeah, it was a good game for the Chargers, but I felt like that turnover on downs for the Bears, for the Chargers, hurt them. So, Ben, I am picking the Chargers to win, but I think this is a game, like this is my hot take of the night. I think Ryan Tannehill is going to get benched because I think the Chargers defense is going to get to him. He's going to throw at least 3 interceptions, and I think Mike Vrabel will pull the plug on him, and then you bench him for Will Levis. I think the Will Levis era is going to start in like the second half of the game.
Sorry, I had myself muted. Yeah, this is a game specifically that I think that the Chargers are going to win. I know their defense wasn't great last game against Tua, but the Dolphins are always great to start seasons like last year. They had a really hot start. The Titans, I'm just not a big believer in this year, and I said that before the season. I'm not a big Ryan Tannehill guy at all. He's very inconsistent. I think that it's just going to be one of those things where, Laura, I could definitely see where you got to in terms of him getting benched because, they really don't have a solidified starter this year. And, you can't really be able to build continuity if you can't trust specifically in the starter and then pretty much know specifically who else is a starter, for the rest of the season. And, could it be Will Levis? Could it be Malik Willis? I don't know. Right. So, obviously the Titans are going to get some wins, on their season this year. It's going to happen that way. But I think they're going to have really slow starts to their season as well. And I think that the Chargers, they scored in the high 40s last game. I think that the defense responds for them. And I'm going to say Chargers are going to win 27-17.
I can see where you're going for this, but did you agree with my hot take about Ryan Tannehill getting benched in this game for Will Levis?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think that it's very well possible because, he had 3 interceptions last game. I think that this season is going to have a massive leash on him. And I know that last year they play Malik Willis quite a bit. And, they obviously kind of want to see specifically too if what they have in Will Levis. And, in terms of like DeAndre Hopkins and, like they brought in him and they brought a couple other pieces in. But yeah, just their team, specifically their quarterback position, is an absolute mess. And it's just really hard to win in the NFL when you just don't have a quarterback specifically where you can put a lot of trust in. I don't know if he's going to get benched or not, Loro, but I do like your overall thinking possibly because it's just a guy specifically just not consistent whatsoever.
Next up, we are going to talk about the New York Giants to take on the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, both teams are 0-1, but Arizona's probably going to be the worst team in the league, Ben. But as for this game, I think the Giants are going to bounce back in a big way. I think the New York Giants get this win. I think it'll be a 56-0 win because I really think that the Giants defense is going to bounce back in this game. Offensively, you're going to see an adjustment in that. And I think that the Giants are going to show that last week we're going to shake that off.
Yeah, I'm going to go G-Man too. I think this is a perfect team to kind of bounce back for week 2. A team that doesn't have a quarterback whatsoever. I mean, I think that their defense could maybe give the offensive line for the Giants some issues, but they should be able to move the football against this Arizona team. They really should. Zach Allen's not there, one of their top guys in the front. J.J. Watt obviously retired. Budda Baker wants to request out of there, so they essentially have a team that's probably going to play hard, play spoilers for a lot of teams this year. So obviously you can't take them lightly, but I think that this is a team from the Giants where, Saquon probably get his touchdowns here in this game. I think, I'll be nice specific about the Cardinals. I think that they will probably score around 10 points. I think that the Giants will probably win 23-10.
Probably a blowout for sure. I think it'll be a blowout in this game. But we talk about a team where Kyle Shanahan is undefeated against Sean McVay since 2019. He has Sean McVay's number, and the Rams are trying to win their home opener too against the 49ers. And Brock Purdy is proven to be the real deal here. And I can tell by Ben's profile picture, he's probably going for the 49ers, and I'm going to go for the 49ers too, because I think the Niners are the better team. I mean, the Rams, they got a good win last week. The Rams look like they're going to prove everybody wrong that they can bounce back. But the Niners, to me, just look like the more complete team because I think that Purdy and because I just think Brock Purdy is I think he's the real deal if you look at it. And I also think that no one wants to see injuries to that in that sense. But I think the 49ers will go 2-0 to start the season.
Yeah. NFC West games, like a lot of division games, are always tough. So I think it's going to be really tough in this one, though. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. But I'm going to go with San Fran. Typically San Fran, when they go to LA, they have a lot of their fans there too. So it's going to be like 49er South in a way. And Brock Purdy was one of the best quarterbacks from week one. I think that he continues that. I know that Rams defense was pretty good in week one. They kind of show that they still kind of have it factor in a way. But the running attack for the Rams, for the Niners too, that's still really good. The thing about the Niners that I told Isaiah this yesterday, they're really balanced. And that's kind of obviously something where they could beat you through the pass, they could beat you through the run. And so I'm going to go San Fran 27, LA, you know what? LA 23, 27-23.
I think it's going to be closer than that. I might be thinking it's going to be the highest scoring affair, but I think that, I think the Niners, I favor 49ers by 3, even though they played very well in LA. Well, the 125 slate is on. We were going to see Aaron Rodgers go up against Dak Prescott, but that's obviously not going to happen. Zach Wilson versus Dak Prescott. But with that being said, Ben, I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys in this game. Obviously, you all know I hate the New York, but the Dallas Cowboys are going to come in, and I think they're going to go 2-0 to start the season. The Cowboys are a good team for a reason. The Jets are probably going to get blown out in this one.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think that Zach Wilson's going to have a pretty good game actually in this one. He's going to turn some heads after the departure of Rodgers, but I think that, like Christie's just said in the comment section, that Dallas defensive front is absolutely scary. And you saw specifically how the Jets offensive line looks against, the Bills defensive front. You look at the Cowboys defensive front, that's a lot better than the Bills defensive front. And, the Giants got absolutely eaten alive with their offensive line. So I think that the Cowboys are going to win this one. They're at home. It's our home opener. You know what, Lauro? Give me Dallas 28-14.
I think Dallas will win, but I think it'll probably be very, very close. But Sean Payton and the Broncos taking on the Washington Commanders and Sam Howell. The Commanders should have blown out the Cardinals. The way they played was pretty poor, but they're better. But I'm going to go the Denver Broncos in this game. I think the Broncos will probably blow out the Commanders because I think, coaching matters. Sean Payton will make adjustments in this game, and I think that the Denver offense will play its best football in week 2.
Lauro, this is going to be the first win for Broncos country. Commanders just squeaked it out against the Cardinals. I thought that they were pretty, the Commanders, I think, are probably going to have a better showing than they had in week 1. But Denver, I think, is going to also have a better showing than they had in their week 1. So I think it's bound that each team is going to at least have one win and one loss in their schedule. And Broncos, I think, are going to win this one. I wouldn't be shocked, too. So if Jerry Jeudy came back, too, that would help Russell Wilson a lot. And Russell Wilson had a pretty good week in week one. They just came up a little bit short.
Well, now we will talk about, give the audience a little preview, Ben, of the Patriots and Dolphins. They're playing on Sunday Night Football. I mean, we got to start with the New England Patriots here. I mean, I have a pretty good feeling. And before we get a make our picks here, Ben, I have a pretty good feeling about the Patriots heading into this game on Sunday. I mean, they're wearing the red throwbacks with the old the Patriot helmet. That's going to be something. I wish that game happened on Christmas Day because red is one of the colors for Christmas. And you can play that in the snow. My gosh, it would be another snowball there. But as for the Miami Dolphins, I mean, this team looks like they're going to get off to a really good start. They made the playoffs, but they kind of splundered down the stretch. But I'll tell you, people think Miami is probably for real this year, which I think so. But I am going to pick I'm going with New England Patriots here, Ben. I think the Patriots will eke it out. I think Chad Ryland is going to be the hero. He's going to kick a game-winning field goal. I think Mac Jones is going to have a great day. I think Tua will have a great day too. But you're probably going to see an offensive display between both teams. And Mike McDaniel, he's going to know how to draw up plays on offense. But I think the Fangio effect could be the reason why the Dolphins go 2-0.
I'm really excited for this game, Laura, not only because it's Sunday night, it's early, really good team with the Dolphins, but my confidence level after week one, despite the loss, defensively, I think that the Patriots defense, Laura, and I said this on my Facebook Live recap after the game on Sunday, the Patriots are going to be going against so many good receiver ones and twos. No better way to open up the season than going against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Now, two of those guys, specifically Laurel, what are they really good at? They're very explosive guys and weather weapons. What was one of the biggest weaknesses of the Patriots last year? Giving up big plays. How many big plays did they give up early in this game? Possibly one, but the one specifically came essentially when A.J. Brown caught the ball on a deep pass, in which it was incomplete anyway. So the Patriots secondary was absolutely excellent, and I think that they're going to do this season, make teams march down the field at will. That's going to be essentially the way that they want to do the game plan. They essentially are going to be like, we'll make you run the football and we'll make you go down the field and march. And I think with the Dolphins specifically, they're running attack. They're going to have to be able to run the football against this Patriots defense. And I think the defense up front for the Patriots, if they're healthy, is one of the best in football. And I think that, you just want to make that team specifically one-dimensional, get Tua Tagovailoa out of the pocket specifically, not get him comfortable. I would play a zone defense specifically, Loro, exactly the way their game plan was in week one. Not limit big plays, make him go march down the field, have Jonathan Jones go against Tyreek Hill, which Jonathan Jones has done great against in past against Tyreek Hill, which is crazy to think. But, I think with this team, with the Patriots, Loro, I think that their offense takes a step back, but I think that their running attack is going to be massive. I know that their running attack kind of struggled in week one, but the Dolphins are really susceptible to giving up a lot of big plays in the running game. So they did a lot of that, giving up a lot to Austin Eckler in week one. So I think that the Patriots are going to have to win ugly in this one, but I think it's going to be a really good win. It's in their red jerseys. It's at home Sunday night. And I told myself too, Laro, the Patriots going to just have to go 2-2 in their first 4 games. And I think that, they're going to have to be able to take a game specifically that they're not supposed to win. And the Dolphins are going to be a team that's going to come in and play really tough and play really just like they played in week one. So they're not going to take us lightly by all means, but I'm going to go Patriots 2017. I think that they're going to be able to keep them right around the 17 points to 20-point range. And I feel like you just don't want to go in a shootout against a team like this. You really don't. And I think that that Bill knows that, the team knows that. And with the way that defense specifically played against the Eagles for a lot of that game week one, I think that it translates over to week 2. And just hopefully that they could be on the other end of it and be able to finish off what they weren't able to do at the end of week 1 on Sunday.
I definitely agree. I mean, the Patriots are going to come in they know the Dolphins are the favorite to win this game. You and I are doing this talk show right now. What will Bill Belichick think when he watches us do it? He is not going to tear out the odds.
I thought Bill played a really good game. He coached a really good game on Sunday, obviously outside of a couple of the plays essentially where the fourth down, I think in the third quarter, late in the third quarter, where they were within field goal range. They were down by 11. They could have kicked the field goal there lower, and then it could have been a lot easier, essentially, where I know they obviously got the fumble, so they were able to get the ball back and potentially win that way, but not try to be like forced to score by a touchdown. You know, he obviously, I think, botched that one, but defensively, it was an excellent game plan. You know, the Eagles specifically, I think that, you know, they're going to have a much better game tomorrow, but I think personally for the Patriots defense, they did just a really good job. Nick Sirianni credited the Patriots defense after the game on Sunday. So I think really, Lauro, you know, you play this bear concept, which what the Patriots did on Sunday, where you essentially bring a hybrid linebacker on the line, essentially don't make Miami go side to side, specifically in terms of what they want to do in terms of their rushing game plan. And then in terms of over the top, you know, put a safety over the top, play zone defense, do not play man. I mean, I don't know if you got the chance to see what the Chargers did, but it was certainly a choice where Tyreek Hill had 2 touchdowns in that game, if you remember. They essentially had Tyreek Hill, I believe in the first touchdown, they played man-to-man coverage, but essentially they had no safety over the top. So it's just like, if you try to do that, then you're just not going to win. So I think that the Patriots essentially are going to have a good game plan on this one. And, you know, the Dolphins receivers are just too good. They're going to get theirs. But essentially do what they did with the Phillies matchup in terms of Devontae Smith had a touchdown, A.J. Brown had 7 catches, but, like, don't make them, like, run over the field and, like, you know, change the whole entire game plan, because those guys are game wreckers. And Tua essentially is going to look at them a lot in this game. So make them be one-dimensional and essentially just make it tough on them, make them go long fields like I just said before the game against the Eagles last week. And I think that you come out with the win. I really do. I think that with this series, you're going to have to be able to split in division against some of these teams. And I think that, you know, going to Miami, it's going to be really brutal for them. So I think that there's going to be a loss for them there. But I think that early on in week 2, you kind of get them specifically at a time where you feel confident, especially, unfortunately, after a loss. You bounce back, and just this feels like a bounce back to me. I'd be pretty disappointed, specifically if they don't come ready to play. You know, if they lose, they lose, right? Miami's, I think, specifically a better team, specifically on paper. And also, too, to keep in mind, Laura, that the Patriots on the injury report this week already are 4 of their offensive line, their starters, or they're dealing with injuries. Trent Brown was out today, I believe, with a concussion. So they might be calling La'el Collins, who the Bengals released. But, you know, they're going to have to be able to have a healthy offensive line in this one, because I don't think that they're going to be able to get away with the way that their offensive line played after week 1. I just don't think it's consistent. You're going to have to need your offensive line out there to help Mac Jones out. But just a lot of quick passes, limit turnovers. Lauro, what did I always tell you last year with the Patriots? How do they win the football games? One thing and one thing only. Remember?
One thing they need to do to win football games is win the turnover battle. Because the Patriots defense is off to the Patriots defense is off to a good start. And I feel like if this defense keeps up the way they played against Philly, and if they can play their defense play like this against really good teams with really good receivers, then I think New England will know how to do that. I mean, they're going to be playing next week. They're going to have a test with the Jets. I mean, they're going to have to put somebody on Garrett Wilson, and when they play the Cowboys, they got to put somebody on CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, but the thing about it is the Jets really, I mean, they have decent complementary receivers, right? They have Garrett Wilson, then they have guys like Randall Cobb, they have Allen Lazard. But those guys, you look at it, they're like, okay, you can kind of be able to scheme against them. The first 2 weeks, Lower, you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. It's essentially 2 guys that could be 2 number ones. Then you have Tyreek Hill and you have Jalen Waddle, 2 guys that essentially are absolutely explosive. So you get essentially a good glimpse of your defense early on out of the gate already. And they essentially were able to at least check off the box in week 1 in terms of where you're going to be able to at least – they're going to get their own stuff in terms of their production. But if you could keep them in a way where they don't take over the game drastically, you're going to have a chance. And that's the way that they had in week 1. Defensively, they were able to even get a turnover to help the offense. The biggest thing about Lauro, and I told you already, win the turnover battle and have really good starts. The Patriots are a team, hopefully that they're going to be able to potentially face some adversity in some games where they're down and be able to come back and win, because that's been their struggling MO since Brady retired. So hopefully that they get the chance to do that, but it would be obviously nice to not have to go to rely on that in week 1 in a way. I think that hopefully that they get a fast start, make a statement early, and then obviously trust the defense like you had in week 1, in which they were consistent. I don't think obviously the defense probably be as good as they were in week 1, because football is just a really weird game. It's a game specifically where, you might have a letdown week with defense and you have a much better week in offense. Special teams might be your best thing. But I look at it specifically and just be complimentary in all 3 facets of the game, like Bill Belichick always says. And I think that you have yourself a chance there. So Sunday Night Football, can't wait. I love especially to see the Lighthouse, Lauro, when they obviously show it. I can't wait to go to Gillette and see that new Lighthouse this year. And I wonder too, Lauro, do they have another honorary guy to ring the bell like Tom Brady did in the first week? We'll have to kind of see about that. So I'm really excited about this game. A lot of storylines. Just really division game. It's going to be exciting.
Oh, I think it's going to be exciting. That's for sure. But now shifting gears to Monday Night Football, we have 2 of them happening on the same day, but at different times. But it's not like a doubleheader where it's game 1, game 2. One game's going to be happening at 7:15 Eastern time, and then the other will be happening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. 5:15 p.m. Pacific time. So the Saints and the Panthers, you talk about both teams where Bryce Young was going to play in prime time, and then you talk about Derek Carr playing the Panthers here in prime time. So, the Saints have a good team. They have a lot of things to clean up offensively, but I'm going to go here, Ben. I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers to win this game. I think Bryce Young is going to find a way to get a win in week 2. And normally the Saints, they're a team that is not good on the road, because they're used to playing really good football at the Dome.
Yeah, I'm going to go Panthers too, Lauro. I think that Bryce Young gets his first win. I think he plays a lot better than he did in week 1. I think that's obviously as a young rookie. I think a lot of rookies are going to have pretty good week 2s, because they can at least have a decent feel, at least in week 1, kind of the way it kind of looks, right? And the Saints really had to squeak that game out against Tennessee. Tennessee, I thought defensively played a pretty good game, but Ryan turnover, Lauro had 3 interceptions, and they really weren't able to kind of take advantage of it. They could have really blown the Titans out from it, and they didn't. So I think the Saints obviously are going to have probably a better offensive game, but I think that the Panthers are going to – I think the Panthers and Saints are probably going to split. A lot of these games specifically, a lot of these teams that are going to be pretty much playing each other early on, division games, are probably going to be a split, a lot of them specifically, but – yeah, I think the Panthers are going to win this game, and it's going to be really close. But Bryce Young gets it done, and it's going to be, if Bryce doesn't get it done this week, probably in the next couple of weeks, because he's the number 1 overall pick for a reason. And, we'll see specifically if he can get it done on Monday.
Now, that being said here, now we're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, anyways, here now, Cleveland Browns look good. A lot of people think that Deshaun Watson was going to look rusty. The Steelers, on the other hand, they still have a lot of work to do, Ben. But I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson is back to the Deshaun Watson that we love. I think Cleveland will be one of these teams where I think they're going to be like, hey, you forgot about us last year. Don't forget about us now.
Yeah, I think that the Browns are going to be a really great story this year, but I just don't know if they're going to be consistent. I also don't think the Steelers are going to be consistent, but they're going to get their first one under Kenny Pickett. The Steelers had just had a really tough team that they had to play in week 1 against San Fran. Kenny Pickett had a couple of turnovers that really cost them early on and often. But I think that he responds and gets the first win for the Steelers against the Browns on Monday Night Football.
We got to talk about this before we end the show. I mean, if Jonathan Taylor doesn't report to the Indianapolis Colts, where I think the best fit for him will be, Ben, man, I'm looking at the list. Baltimore, Chicago. I'm gonna scratch off the Miami Dolphins off this list just because I don't think they're gonna trade guys like Jalen Waddle and all that. But I'm gonna say, Ben, call me crazy where I think he's gonna go because Jonathan Taylor deserves better than the Indianapolis Colts. So call me crazy, Ben. I think the best fit for Jonathan Taylor is the Green Bay Packers. You trade him. You can give up A.J. Dillon. You have him and Aaron Jones being a complementary in the backfield, and then then A.J. Dillon will give he will provide. I think he will provide some depth at running back for the Colts, and I think that could put pressure off of Anthony Richardson if you get a guy like A.J. Dillon in the backfield.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll trade Jonathan Taylor during the regular season. I don't know if they want to make it a distraction. But I do think that they'll keep his trade request possibly until the season's over. I think the best team potentially could be Philly. I think that, DeAndre Swift, Dave Green, Kenneth Gainwell, I believe that's his last name. But I don't think that they have that true number one running back. And I think for Jalen Hurts, that would be a massive benefit when you have essentially two really good receivers already in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. But you can get that really good running back on a contending type ready Super Bowl type winning type team now. I like that Packers fit there. You could have a really dynamic rushing attack there with Aaron Jones. I wouldn't rule out Miami, Lauro. I know that they have Raheem Mostert, but I don't think it's going to be a team that it's going to work out. I know that we're trying to ask for Jalen Waddle, which I think is absolutely ludicrous for them. But, I think that they're probably going to keep his trade request to probably the end of the season and then try to maybe trade him in the offseason.
Anyways, Ben, it's been a great show. Final thoughts and announcements. Tune in to Kicking It with Cruz. Ben, you might do an emergency show on Kicking It with Cruz. Maybe a post-game edition of it when the Patriots and Dolphins play. Are you going to be up for that?
So we can do Kicking It with Cruz tomorrow. I actually have a show planned. Tomorrow, I actually have a show planned already. I did one yesterday. We're going to do a lot of recap for college football. We're going to do our game pick for the USA and James. We're also going to have some big that. Laura, if you'd like to do a post-game show, we can do a Kicking It with Cruz show where you could do a post-game show on Sunday, and then possibly I can kind of work things out as well with other stuff next week.
Just wanted to check here. So anyways, great show, everybody. Ben, thank you for hopping on. I know we missed Isaiah, but it's always good that at times where you and I do a show at times. So
of course.
For Ben, Lauro signing off for now, but Ben, we'll talk on the side about a Kicking It with Cruz show. Have a great day, everybody.
Third and 29. Jones steps up, tries to avoid it, buys some time. Jones uncorks, deep goal, touchdown on the ricochet. Purdy back to throw, pressure coming, steps away, looking to run, and he walks it in for the touchdown. Throw on 4th and 18. He's given time. He wants Jefferson. Oh my goodness! Jacobs with running room right up the middle. Jacobs is on his way. The Raiders are going to win this game. Lays it up and it intercepted Trayvon Diggs. Guess who? On it to McCaffrey right up the middle, and it's stiff arm McCaffrey for 6.